People on Discord with egos which are way too big for how good they are just exist everywhere. And one of them is like one of the most famous ones that I know is like Zizo. I don't understand. I think he's maybe an old gen, maybe that's why he thinks he's so good, but I don't understand how one can fool themselves into thinking that they're competent after time. They've proven their incompetence to everyone who they engage with. Like I've seen Zizo go into philosophy communities and lose really badly, and then he just makes me look bad because then it's like, oh yeah, fiction debates, anime debates are so stupid, and the reason why everyone thinks that is because of people like him. I've seen he sat there and he told me he genuinely thinks he's tier two. Now, for any of the new people who've seen the video, like tier two is supposed to be like say a good thing. Tier two is supposed to be, oh you're one of the best, and then I see some idiot like Zizo saying he's tier two, and it actually just is embarrassing. It's kind of like, oh yeah, you're begging it low key. Like I don't know why he thinks he's that good. Like he genuinely thinks he's better than some of these people. He thinks he's like better than like even in Infinity's case, he thinks he's better than Infinity, and it's like, or he thinks he's like close to Infinity. And it's like not a single soul actually thinks he's on that level. I don't understand how somebody who has such an established, in fact, I'd even say it's like a monumental track record of being somebody who's just incompetent, somebody who just can't be trusted whenever it comes to having opinions, right? I don't understand how you can actually see somebody like that and say, oh yeah, no, he's competent, he's tier two. In reality, if you deep it though, is there a single person who actually thinks Zizo is tier two aside from himself? And the answer is no, there isn't a single person. And there's a good reason why nobody thinks he's on that level. And the reason being is because he is not on that level. In fact, some could even argue that he's a tier 5, and the reason why most people could argue that and be in completely in the right shape and frame of mind is because he just is fundamentally incompetent. Not only does he just not know much about anything, he's incompetent about almost every single facet of debating. He also lacks severely in rhetoric. Now I've seen him say, oh yeah, I can win debates off of pure rhetoric, and it's like, no, you can't. In reality, you don't even have any rhetoric, right? Like, and I'm talking about rhetoric in the way he uses it, the proprietary sense. By rhetoric, all he means is just yelling at his opponent. Now, maybe Zizo doesn't mean that, right? Hopefully, if I give Zizo the benefit of the doubt, maybe he actually means providing a solid argument, right? Or persuasion via argumentation. And if that's what he means, then it's like, okay, well, clearly you can't win debates off of pure rhetoric simply because he just isn't competent enough to do so, right? Nobody listens to Zizo speak and says, oh, yeah, this guy definitely knows what he's talking about. Nobody listens to Zizo speak and says, this guy is intelligent. Nobody listens to Zizo speak and say, this guy is well read. People don't seem to come to any of these conclusions whenever they listen to Zizo, simply because he just doesn't seem to know much about anything. And because of the fact that he's been hanging around and he seems to hype up people who are really bad in of themselves, people like Aeroflame, people like what's it called? People like Aeroflame, people like Demi, he hypes up people who don't really have much substance on their hand. Like I don't think Demi knows a lot. I don't think Demi actually is very competent argumentatively. And because he hangs around with people like Godard and he hypes up people like that, that's why he seems to actually have a terrible perception of what it means to be a good debater. But hopefully he realizes his incompetence soon. And upon him realizing his incompetence, then maybe, just maybe, he will actually be able to get better and improve as a debater. Because for you to improve as a debater, first of all, you need to realize that you're bad. And if he constantly still recognizes that he's good, or he constantly still recognizes himself as a good debater, when people say tier twos tap in, you will actually be like, oh yeah, let me get up and say that I'm tier two. Like I don't know. Whenever people are talking about good debaters, if you notice, he's never actually in conversation. Whenever people talk about noteworthy people in the community, you realize he's also never in the conversation. And the reason why he's just never featured in any of these types of conversations, maybe I think just like I think this is something he needs to learn too. Is maybe it's because he's just actually incompetent. Maybe it's not because anyone is biased, but enough of ripping into Ziza, because in reality, like, there's not much of like intelligence to rip into. Infinity came into my comments saying that he'd beat me for the seventh time. Keep in mind, he's never actually beaten me, but he said that he'd beat me for the seventh time. And then I see him in chat saying in Skype, saying, "Oh yeah, no. What's it called? Why would I debate a random like Shinra for free? I need money to do it." It's like, yeah, we get it. You need money. Yes, we get it. Scamming, what's it called? Scamming people isn't actually a solid course of income. Yeah, Infinity, we get it, right? But the point is how are you going to challenge me to a debate? How are you going to say, oh yeah, Shinra, let's debate? And then immediately, instead of actually debating me, instead of actually like engaging, instead of actually like getting beat up like you would if we were to debate, right? Like, because I don't know whatever he was doing about that like stupid little thing on companions in guilt. Oh no, not companions in guilt, or like I think it was ethical egoism or something like that. Like because of just that type of idiotic mindset about about like abortion. Of course, he'd get absolutely ran through by any person who's actually a little bit competent. So because of that, that's a great reason for him to evade me. Now, tactical evasion is still evasion. Evasion by pretending to say that this other person is below you is still evading. Now, you could say, quote unquote, he'd be evading for a good reason, which is that he doesn't want his rep to like completely die, right? But like again, he would still be evading, and like it's fine. Like well, I'm not gonna say everyone's like avoided people better than them or something, because I'd expect most people who are considered to be tier one, like there's no way actually people listen to him debate and think, oh yeah, Infinity is better than Alex O'Connor, and there's no way people actually think that. There's no way people actually think, yeah, this guy is better than Ask Yourself, because in reality he isn't, right? He doesn't know nearly as much. He doesn't nearly have the argumentative skill. He doesn't have nearly the argumentative capability. So whenever I see people say that, it's like akin to people just like screaming into the wind and just being like blah 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 blah, right? Because what they're saying is just completely absurd. I can't really get behind anything they're saying, because the sheer incompetence that's riddled within that statement is absolutely like insane to me. Right? There's no competent individual who actually thinks Infinity is tier one. There's no competent individual who actually thinks Infinity is smart. But look, it's fine, right? Of course, he can run forever. Like, is this good? I'm not going to say, oh yeah, stop running, stop running. But the only other thing is, like, if he wants to engage, you'll notice that what he'll do is he'll continually cut his opponent off. In one of his JJK debates with like D1, there's a good argument you could make that D1 won the debate. I saw somebody write a whole paragraph on why D1 won and he lost. And it's like, the fact that people can do that and they aren't able to do that for people who supposed to like for quote unquote people who are supposed to be worse than you, it's like actually insane, right? Like how are people able to make such strong arguments for you losing to D1 when you're supposed to be like 16 billion tiers better than D1? It's like it's absolutely absurd. Go to D1 versus Infinity or Marky versus Utah, and you'll notice that in reality D1 and him aren't even that far off of each other substantively. And it's like, how aren't you that far off of D1 substantively? Like how? How does that even happen? Like, of course, what's it called? Of course, he's just like fundamentally incompetent. So whenever whenever I see him, just think that he's way better than he is. It just means like it looks like he's getting too big for his bucks. Like it looks like he's hyping himself up to be more than he is, and it's like, sometimes we need to take a step back and realize our incompetence at times, right? And like this is the roadblock that Infinity is having. I saw somebody in my comments saying, "Oh yeah, Infinity's been losing a lot lately," and I'm like, "Yeah, he has." And then I see random Infinity Goon 1125, right, saying that, "Oh yeah, no, 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 Infinity's won every single debate it has recently," and it's like, yeah, nobody but you thinks that, right? But the other thing is like, not only does nobody but him think that, Infinity himself will say that he didn't perform as good as he usually would, right, against Divinity. Now, I don't think he was underperforming. I think specifically what Infinity was is he was just losing. He doesn't one. Not only does he just not know a lot about the topic, Infinity just doesn't know a lot about theism, right? What he's been doing so far, which is like relying on quote unquote. I'm pretty sure it's Beetlejuice's relying on Beetlejuice's syllogism to win debates has like not proven very effective. Whenever he debates somebody who not only just might be better than Beetlejuice himself, right, but also just like somebody who's just way more philosophically like adept than he is. So again, also like you can see that I'm literally phasing through the blocks. One, two. Where my Tuesdays at? Where my Tuesdays at? Nah. But yeah, literally, you can literally just tell that like whenever he debates somebody who's better than his dad, whenever he debates somebody who's better than his progenitor Beetlejuice, the one person who says that, one person who lauds him up for being like super good, right? Then you notice that like his incompetence just like gets on display, like everyone sees, oh yeah, this guy's actually incompetent. I heard that he was like losing posts to Zizo, and it's like, no, well, not Zizo, Shiki, I should say. And it's like, how are you losing posts to Shiki on your own server? This is your server. They made you, right? Like Skypiea made Infinity this like Skypiea was supposed to be Infinity's prime. Skypiea was where like Infinity literally could not lose polls, right? No matter what happened. Like Infinity could get beat up, destroyed, dominated substantively, and still win polls because every member of Skypiea, like in totality, who actually seriously votes on the polls is like inept. Like I remember once I was arguing with somebody and somebody said that, oh yeah, the reason why they think Infinity wins debate is because polls were on their side. And I was like, people actually like unironically use polls for vouchers, and it's like that's when I knew that yes, people on Discord were actually inept, right? People on Discord were just incompetent, right? People on Discord just sometimes didn't know what they were talking about, right? I didn't know that something like that could happen until recently. Like, there's no way you're telling me you see people in chat being like, oh my god, Infinity W, Infinity is the best debater, Infinity is the best thing since sliced bread. And actually, you listen to them speak and conclude that Infinity is actually tier one because of what they say. And it's like, hello? There's no way you're like trolling. And it's like, yeah, they have to be trolling. Like, there's no way they aren't trolling. Because if they weren't trolling, right, then you'd actually realize that, oh, yeah, no, they like have different opinions. But in reality, they don't have different opinions. They actually agree. They agree on the dumb shit that they are saying. They are agreeing, like, that, oh, yeah, no. Infinity, oh my gosh. They're agreeing that, like, Infinity is the best debater. And it's like, how are you doing that? How do you rationally reflect and you come to the conclusion that Infinity is the best debater? I want to know, like, how does that even occur? Ooh, I hate this game. Like, I don't know. I genuinely don't know sometimes. Like, for the average Discordian, I just don't know. Like, once I get past this level, I'll keep talking. But this level is like really grinding my gears. There we go. But yeah, literally, I don't know how people genuinely unironically trust polls. Like, they'll see randoms in the server, and it's like, if you ask somebody in the chat, what does it mean? What does physicalism entail? Right? They won't know. If you ask somebody in Skype chat, what's it called? Who's the best Naruto debater? They'll know probably. You could say that they are like at least competent enough to know some things about fiction, right? But you wouldn't say they're competent enough to know like philosophical topics. Like, why would I trust a basically 8-year-olds to for like any opinions on philosophical topics? If you get what I mean, it's like also this like was supposed to be super rage lobby. It's like I'm not really raging. It's even that hard, but it's like what's it called? I don't understand. How would you even say that polls are a good metric to say you won debates? It's like I know Goons does it right, but Goons doesn't unironically think that polls are valid, right? Like people in Skype, the reason why the term anime retards like exists, right? Like nobody would call another person that like basically use anime debate as some form of like slur. Like nobody would say that if people who debate anime consistently displayed their competence and they displayed their ability to win on a variety of topics, even in philosophy as well, and even in like at least the baseline for every single like quote unquote anime debater, somebody who does mainly fiction to do, or at least be somewhat competent and is at least like be competent on abortion, because then it shows that yeah, okay, even outside of fiction, he's a little bit smart, right? That's what it shows. That's the implication it gives off, right? So again, whenever like I see people who debate like for example, this is like no shade at Mona. I know I like see featured them in his like underrated debaters thingy, right? But it's like I see Mona go out there use Infinity's absolutely terrible syllogism. Well, I'm not even gonna say terrible, but use Infinity's terrible arguments for the existence of God, and then he uses them, and because like people who are outside this community will be watching these debates, right? they'll be watching. Like I saw some friction comment on my video too. That was like exciting. But what's it called? Um, you see him using and like purporting these really terrible arguments, and it's like it's so bad. Even like people who don't even know infinities, people like friction, which is basically just a whole bunch of people who interview philosophers, right? But they'll be like, oh yeah, no, this was really rough for infinity because he didn't really know what he was talking about. Granted, he's like this was a year ago, so he probably knows a lot more. And it's like, yeah, so it's not just that I'm being biased whenever I say it, right? It's also other people who are saying that this guy's incompetent as well. This guy probably doesn't know what he's talking about. And it's like, yeah, not knowing what you talk about is a bad thing, infinity, you know. Like we're all some on occasion, like not as competent as we wish to be. So again, you know, like sure you could say it's a vice for somebody who's considered to be the best debater since sliced bread to be struggling with simple P zombie arguments, right? Which Apollo literally refutes like for like lunch and dinner, right? And it makes no sense for him to say that he's better than Apollo. Yeah, lose to arguments that Apollo doesn't. And it's like, okay, maybe on occasion you may have won at least one debate against Apollo. But it's like Apollo doesn't even like, at least from what I've seen, he doesn't even be trying like that, right? So it's like, oh no, I've never really gone like any sort of like positive in what's it called, positive outlook on people who only debate one topic and from only oh wait, I can walk through those things. Like I'm from only debating one topic, they've suddenly gotten like this false guise of competency, right? Oh my god, there was a jump at the end. But from only debating one topic, there's like this false guise of competency that's been like given given to these people, and it's like, how do you listen to yourself debate, right? How do you listen to yourself argue? Because I think what one of the best things you should do as a debater is self-reflection, right? So if you're unable to listen to yourself debate and think, oh yeah, what I said was competent, or what I said was like actually right, or what I said was a good argument, and instead all you said is, oh well, I won the debate, and it's like, then it shows you're doing, at least you're doing something wrong, because now it just means that you're not even focused on the strength of your argument. You're even focused on actually getting better arguments. Instead, all you're focused on is winning the debate. So now I kind of get what insync means about the whole blood sports debating thing, where it's like people are too focused on winning debates rather than to be good at them. And most of the time, right, you notice that because you is like too focused on hyper focused on winning debates, right? You notice then they get less and less adept at winning debates in the first place. So it's like counterproductive even to your own goals to actually just be hyper focused on winning the debate instead of getting better arguments, because now that you're hyper focused on winning the debate instead of getting better argumentatively and getting better like in terms of your fluency as well, now you just look worse. Now you just aren't as good a debater as you should be, right? Oh my god. But yeah, again, I'll stop talking for a little bit to lock in, and I'll get past this. Okay. I pressed the jump button, but it's fine. It's fine. If I'd actually pressed it in time, it would have done that. The N word. Two things I never seen. I know a beauty gone and the biryani. There we go. Oh my goodness, I'm a monster. But yeah. Also, what happened to Monsoon? I don't know. Does anyone else watch that? Like, am I weird? Like, am I the only person who watches that? But like, there used to be this super good show. It was called Monsoon. It was about like basically imagine Bakugan, where they like have dragons coming out of their little balls. But imagine that for like for little capsules. And there was this big white polar bear looking thing. And it was really sick, it was really cold. At least I remember it being really cold. Like literally you notice that whenever you say, "Oh yeah, gosh, this show was so good. Oh my god, I wish I could like rewatch it." Then when you finally find the facilities to actually be able to rewatch this like show that you've been trying to rewatch for like so long, that you've actually missed how good it is, right? You've missed watching it, right? And then you realize slowly it isn't actually as good as what's it called? It isn't actually as good as you thought it was. And the reason why you thought it was so good at the time is because simply you were so young to actually know and understand like how good it was. Now people say no, he isn't that. The show just isn't in its prime anymore. And it's like no, in reality it actually could still be in its prime. In fact, it could be better than it was whenever you still watched it. However, your tastes have just changed so drastically than from when you were a kid that you just don't even understand. And it's like, yo, why'd I say kid? I'm British. But yeah, um, literally, I don't even understand how like people, how people literally just overvalue like rhetoric. I saw Sway in chat. I was in chat in Skype, and he said, "Oh yeah, the reason why Infinity cuts you off is because he's better rhetorically than you." It's like, what does that mean? Does it mean to be like rhetorically good? Does it mean to be like appealing? Does that just mean I'm able to cut you off more and you won't do anything about it? And it's like, if that's what it means, then like what's it called? It's just completely unsubstantive, and it's like it doesn't make for a good debate. Haha, yeah, I have the louder mic, I can yell over you. Now, if you notice, Infinity will only ask for moderation. I'm never gonna say Infinity because this is an Infinity personal issue, but like most of the time, people like that, those cut off merchants, basically, right? They will only ask you for moderation if and only if you have a louder mic than them. If you have like a less loud mic than them, if you don't actually like if when they speak, you nobody can hear you speaking, they don't really care about substance anymore, right? If you notice, in fact, all they really care about is appealing to the crowd. Now, the main example of this, in fact, I call Infinity in the act for this. The main example was him versus Apollo, like against Apollo, what's it called, against Apollo. Literally what he was doing is he was sitting there and he was just yelling at Apollo about Goku being God, right? Because like one, not only is that like hella blasphemous, but he, what's it called, he yelled at Apollo about Goku being God for like a whole 20 minutes, and then people were like, oh yeah, Infinity's winning, haha, Infinity's so small, Infinity's the best. And it's like, really, genuinely, is that how, like, is that the win? Is that the substance? Is this the go to debating that you want to allowed? And it's like I've just noticed that debaters get a whole lot less credit. They get way less credence whenever they don't have loud mics. And the reason why they get less credence, maybe it's because maybe maybe it's like because for some odd reason people seem to appreciate substance more whenever they have like equally loud mics, and whenever they don't have equally loud mics, it's like substance just becomes like boring. Like I've seen people be like, oh my god, I didn't time it right. But I've seen people be like, oh my gosh, what's it called? Why when are they going to start yelling at each other? And it's like, what? So you don't actually want to listen to the debate. Like instead what you want to listen to is just like them yelling at each other, and it's like, okay, that's perfectly fine. Right. Like wanting people to yell at each other is like perfectly fine. But then if you want people to yell at each other all the time, then I have like a perfect server for you, and the server is called discord.gg/listing, right? It's where in fact they all they do is yell at each other, right? I'm not timing it right. I'm not pressing the space button, but like, yeah, the server's called discord.gg/listing. Now, in discord.gg/listing, all they do, in fact, is yell at each other. And they yell at each other, and in fact, there's no actual substance to what they're doing. Now, I don't even know how do people even beef over loud micing and beef over packing. And it's like, yeah, you are literally getting, sometimes you even be paid to just sit there and insult another human being. And you're telling me you're going to get like offended because you yelled at another human being, and then that other human being said something you remotely don't like, and it's like, yeah, isn't the entire point just to isn't the entire point just to say something that like your opponent doesn't like, so that um you get optic points against them or something like that? It's like, I thought that should be the entire point. And if it isn't the entire point, then what is the point really, right? I saw something about Fizz Kid and Morn packing, and supposedly D1 got blacklisted from the packing community. And it's like, yo, so much for the Spud King. Like, speaking of which, I get what people mean whenever they say D1 is like underrated or like D1 is overhated, because like sometimes I just realize like, okay, this is an actual guy behind the screen. This guy's probably come home from like a or come on Discord after like a pretty tiring day of playing basketball, and then all he sees is just people who want to troll him, right? And people who literally they don't even respect him. They don't think he's smart. They don't actually want to listen to what he's saying. In fact, all they want to do really is just like make him make him yell at them for like make him yell at them for activity for clout, and it's like I get what people mean, but the part I don't really get is what does he mean when he says clout chasing? It's like clout chasing to him. Is all that mean just like is all that means to him? Isn't it just like coming to him for the sake of being known in the community? And if that's what he means by clout chasing, then that's like perfectly fine. The way I got known in the community is from like at least initially is from like just yelling at D1 and getting D1 to yell at me. Right? At least now I'm known for like things that are actually like more reputable, like actually being somewhat smart. Right? But back in the day when like idiots roamed the community like maggots and flies, right? People like Aeroflame used to be there. I remember there was a whole big scandal about whether or not yeah, well, okay, this is a jump around it, of course. Like that's what I've been doing for a whole billion levels now. But like, of course, there was a whole big scandal about whether or not Shonen Page beat. I'm pretty sure his name was Shonen Page beat Airflame, and it's like both of you guys are bad. Like maybe Airflame isn't as bad. Oh no, maybe Page isn't as bad, right? Now because it's like there's no more bad people, or maybe he's evolved a little bit, but generally whenever they were like actually when people actually roamed about the community, you see there were people who like I see old gens come in and be like, oh gosh, what happened to good people, people like Aeroflame, man? Like, what do you mean? I was like, and then I also see Tigger being like, oh yeah, no, I just judge off of who's funnier. And it's like, haha, like, haha. If you judge off of who's funnier, if that's how you want to judge debates, you might as well just go into this nice little server called discord.gg/listing. Now, if you notice in listing, oh my god, in listing, what they actually do is something really funny. What they do is called it's called packing. So whenever they pack, in fact, the entire goal is to insult the opponent and be as funny as possible. So by insulting the opponent and being as funny, okay, this is a throwaway round, but yeah, but like by insulting the opponent and being as funny as possible, then yeah, they appeal to the crowd, and it's like, yeah, guys, isn't this very appealing? Like, are you not entertained? Like, is this not entertaining to you? It's like, haha, yeah. He's yelling at the other guy even though they're supposed to be debating Naruto. Haha, yeah. He's talking about how he'd killed the other guy in a fight even though he's supposed to be debating Naruto. And it's like, I don't get how do people think somebody sounds cool or seems cool because they're able to say, oh yeah, haha, I'd beat you in a fight. It's like, dude, you're a Naruto debater. You're debating Naruto. Like, maybe you are actually able to beat the other guy in a fight. Maybe you are actually able to like able to physically overwhelm the other person, right? It's like, okay, cool. It's not like you're going to do that. It's not like you're actually going to like beat the other person in a fight just because they debated you on Naruto and they won. Like, be so for real. Like, you aren't going to. Oh my, what? What? Like, you aren't actually going to do that. So whenever people talk about that stuff, it's like, yeah, haha, empty threats. Or like yeah, I've never seen unless somebody can like prove it to me. I've never seen a whole fight happen over Discord. I've never seen two people physically like have an altercation over Discord, right? And if they have, then they're losers. It's like there's no winning in that situation because if you do fight, you're a loser. If you don't fight, you're a loser, right? Oh, yay! Okay, beautiful. But if you do fight, you're a loser. If you don't fight, you're a loser. So you might as well just don't fight. Um, I mean, if you don't fight, you aren't a loser. But it's like if somebody pulls up on you from Discord, like imagine what would actually happen if D1 pulled up on you. Like D1 genuinely fact finally he's gotten tired of all of the hatred. He's gotten tired of all of the memes, all of the packing, right? D1 actually pulls up on you. Like, oh, I slipped off. Like, what are you actually going to do? Like, I know what I do. I just beat the guy in a fight. He's like 5'7", right? But um, most people in the community, I don't even know if I can trust them to win in a physical altercation against the guy. And the point is like, thankfully, the world has evolved to such a point in which to beat someone in a fight, you don't actually need to just physically overwhelm them, right? Instead, all you need is just a Glock 19, right? And that's the sad part. It's like, oh yeah, what happened to good old fist fighting? What happened to good old roughhousing? It's like, well, I'll tell you what happened. People didn't want to get punched in the face a bunch, and it's like, well, there's that too, but also I've seen all of the people who are like, oh yeah, you're on, but I don't know. Why am I ranting about this stuff? Really, I don't know. I'm just doing like anything to pass the time until I also seen people say like JDK is bad. It's like, bro, you just can't read. I see people in fully realize say, oh my god, where's Utah? Where's Utah? Where's Utah? It's like, dude, you are a whole bunch of idiots, right? Like everyone in fully realized. I've never seen a group of people more incompetent, people more philosophically confused than those bunch, right? So yeah, um, there's that. After this level, the video is probably gonna end abruptly. If you like the video, like and subscribe, man. Tabi, tabi, like, yeah, like and subscribe, something like that.